Baby, you're a stitch man. Baby, you're a stitch man. Baby, you're a stitch man. Duh. Woo-hoo-hoo. Oh, hello, FLOSSTUBE lovers and cross-stitch enthusiasts. Hey, guess what? It's only been 16 days since my last video, and here I am sitting here doing it again. How did you get so lucky? You're the luckiest person in the whole world right now. So the two main things that I said in my last video that I was going to do for this time. One, I said I'm definitely not going to be back in 2 weeks making a new video. And I'm only going to work on my own things in the meantime. Neither of those things are true. It's become quite clear over the years of making these videos that whatever I say is going to happen in one video, whatever I say I'm going to do next time, the complete opposite thing ends up actually happening. I don't know why I haven't learned that yet, but on that note, maybe I have learned something, because I'm going to declare right now on that note that for my next video, whenever that may be, I am definitely not going to be a millionaire dating a supermodel. Not going to happen. And now we sit back and let the universe do its work. First, second, third, I don't know. I'll get out of the way. I'll get out of the way quickly. A quick thank you to everybody that commented and sent me messages about my new updated living situation. We don't need to talk a whole lot about that, but thanks for all the nice comments and well wishes. Everything's fine. It wasn't fine over the summer, but it's not summer anymore. It's cold weather. Had some time to settle in and let it all sink in. Everything's fine. Everybody's happy. We're good. Everything's good. Do you believe me? No. So now look, here I am again after only just a couple of weeks, just like I used to do in the old days, every 2 weeks. What's going on? What's the story? What are you doing, Stitch Man? Why are you back so soon? We don't need this much of you. I can hear you now. Well, one, I had such a good time making my last video. It really it kind of rekindled my joy of doing this, which had been at a little bit of a lull over the last little bit. Other things were going on, and I don't know. I felt like it was getting to be more of a chore than a fun thing, and that's why it was so spaced out in between. And anyway, I had a really good time making my last one, and I really wanted to get back and do it again. Is that so bad? Is that the worst thing in the world? That am I allowed to have fun? Also, I've actually done quite a bit of stuff in the last couple of weeks. I've got 3 pages of notes written down here. I probably have a good 45 minutes worth of stuff to legitimately talk about. What is it going to be, a 3-hour epic if I wait longer? I gotta clear my plate, start fresh for another 2 weeks, right? So look, it's been 5 minutes and 35 seconds already, and I haven't said a goddamn thing. Let's get started. Actually, no, let's not get started just yet. I have one completely non-stitch related thing that I want to talk about. It's not important at all. It's just it happened recently, and it's been on my mind, and I want to share some joy with you right now. Do you like joy? Why do you hate joy so much? You're gonna skip ahead 3 minutes because you hate joy? Dylan and I watched E.T. a couple of days ago. Everybody knows and loves E.T., right? It was one of my favorite movies when I was growing up, but I haven't actually sat down and watched it probably as an adult. It's as magical and amazing as you remember it being from a kid, maybe more so when you watch it as an adult. It hasn't aged one bit. And I know I know this is going to be just because it's fresh in my mind right now, but I'm going to go out on a limb. This isn't quite a limb to go out on, but for somebody that I like the weird movies. I love movies. I've watched movies you wouldn't even believe some of the movies that I've watched from all different countries, of all different, right from the dawn of time of movies. I watch all the movies. I'm going to say E.T. is top 5 of all time. What do you think about that? It's amazing. If you haven't seen it since you were a little kid, you should rewatch it now as an adult because it hits totally differently. The movie hasn't changed at all. I love when stuff like this happens too, by the way, because like you watch it and it's exactly as you remember. The movie hasn't changed at all, but I've changed and I react to it completely differently. It hits so different. You know, as a kid, I didn't really have a whole lot of like, I related it to it on the like, you know, I know Elliot is friends with E.T. and then he's sad at the end because he has to say goodbye to his friend. Like, I get it. But, you know, I didn't have a whole lot of kid experience with that idea of having to say goodbye to somebody that you love, even though you know you have to, but you don't want to. I didn't really like relate to it on that level as a kid, but boy, oh boy, did I relate to that as an adult. Whew, that was really, it was hard to get through. And forgot too that, you know, I remember as a kid being sad, like, because I related to Elliot having to say goodbye to E.T. E.T. also has to say goodbye to Elliot, and I didn't really remember that part of it as like my memories as a kid. E.T.'s having a hard time too. I completely forgot that E.T. actually invites him onto the ship. He wants him to come with him because he doesn't want to say goodbye to him either. They're both having a hard time with this.
Come. Stay.
I might need to stop talking about it. I'm going to burst into tears right now. Anyway, I would highly recommend revisiting E.T. if you haven't watched it in a very long time or since you were a kid. Do yourself a favor. And one other thing on semi-related to this, and then we'll get on to cross-stitching stuff, but I'm gonna confess something that I don't think I've ever confessed to anybody ever. Are you ready for this? You might want to sit down for this one because it's a big one. As I stated earlier, I love movies, and I consider myself like, you know, I could fit in with the movie snob crowd, with the artsy movies and the ones that nobody knows about and the old ones and the like, you know, the Fellini from Italy and Kurosawa and Ingmar Bergman and like, you know, even deeper than that, you know, Jodorowsky. Do you know who Jodorowsky is? Do you know what El Topo is? I watched this and I have it and I watch it for pleasure. I have a documentary from 1922 about witchcraft and demonology from 1922. I have this and I watch it for fun. Like I'm a movie snob and my movie knowledge goes deep and I watch everything and I love movies. We got that? We know where we're at right now. I am going to confess one of my deepest, darkest movie secrets right now that I don't think I've ever told anybody. And this came up again in my mind because of E.T. and Steven Spielberg. I have never, of all the movies that I've watched and that I've loved over the years, I've never seen any of the Indiana Jones movies. What? Woo! Feels good to get that off my chest. All right, we got that out of the way. You know my deepest, darkest secrets now. Let's get on with the stitch up. I actually have a decent amount of stuff to legitimately talk about today. I've got a list here in my busy little bee notebook. Here, what do we got? I've got whips to show you that are not just my own things. I did things that weren't my own things. That's it. That's all I've got. No, I've got haul. I bought some stuff that I want to show you that I'm excited about. I reorganized my whips, and I got my life and my stitch things all in order, and I'm all excited about that. I do have a couple of my own things to talk to you about, which I know you love. You love me when I talk about me. What are you watching it for if you don't love me? So many fun things to talk about. I've got maples in the window. See, there's Maple. I've got a Christmas hat hanging there. I'm gonna spare you a Christmas for this one last video because it's Dylan and I decided that we're not going to decorate for Christmas until after Halloween's over. So like November, as of November 1st, we're going full on Christmas. But until then, I'll keep it as a reminder that Christmas is coming. And this is the last time that you're going to see until probably next spring when the snow melts. It's going to be all out Christmas. All right, on with it. Get to the point. I will tell you a little bit about me before I talk about other things that I did. I'll talk about the me things and then the other things that aren't me things that are still me things, because it's all about me, right? It's all about me. If it wasn't about me, why would I be sitting here talking about me? It's like back in the old days. You guys probably wouldn't even remember this, especially if you don't live in Canada. But remember Tom Green? Does anyone remember Tom Green? He used to have like a literally a cable access show here in Canada, like old school Wayne's World type stuff, where it was just like nobody knew who he was except if you got like the local channel that you can only get with your like rabbit ear satellite. That's how he started, and I used to watch him. And his theme song was the best because it was all about me. This is my favorite show because this is my show. It's not your show, it's my show. And that's why it's my favorite show. That's how I feel.
This is the Tom Green Show. It's not the Green Tom Show. This is my favorite show because it is my show. If this was your show, you'd probably like it more than I did. That's just because it was your show. But it's not your show, it's the Tom Green Show.
Okay, so anyway, I do want to tell you real quick about some of the fabric stuff that I've been doing recently, because I found I'm very excited about this. I found a new source of Aida. The end. No, I'm getting my Aida in. It's from a different place. This is all very top secret stuff, so don't ask me for any more details than this, but it's from a different place than I used to get it. And it comes in much bigger sizes. So like I can do more. And not only is it more, it's a little, it feels, okay. I'll just take a breath. The average person who's just like a hobby stitcher might not notice this, but you and I, the professionals that we are, will probably notice if you have some of my fabric that you bought before and then you buy some of this new stuff, you're probably going to notice that it's a little bit different. And I think different in a much better way. It feels a little bit softer, a little bit thicker, and it's a little bit bigger. The pieces, because of the bigger sizes that I get when I cut them up into like, you know, a similar size that I like to sell, they actually end up being 2 inches bigger than before. So they're bigger, they're softer, they're thicker, they're better. They're just, there's nothing wrong with what I was selling before. If you got fabric from me before, it's what I use for everything. I still am using it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just I really like this new stuff, and I like that it's a little bit bigger, and I like that it's a little bit softer, and I think you're gonna like it too. I've got one here to show you. The colors that you know and love are still the same. Like it still looks the same when it comes out, but like look at that. Look how beautiful that is. And like it's a little bit bigger this way, and it's 2 inches longer this way. And it's just I don't know. I just like it a lot better. I just like it better. And I think you're gonna like it better too. Look at that. Ooh, baby. Isn't that beautiful? And because I can get more of it at a time and in bigger sizes, I'm not running out of stuff as quickly. I have more room to like experiment with stuff that, like, you know, there's other colors and other things that I kind of want to like experiment with, but I hesitate to do that because people like keep buying the stuff that they want, and then I keep running out of it. So I keep making the same stuff over and over again because that's what people are buying, and like I don't have a lot of room to like experiment. But I feel like I have a little bit more room to experiment now, so it's a little bit more fun. I made this black. Look at that. Who doesn't love stitching on black? Make sure you have a nice big bright light. Red. I never had a red before, and red is my absolute favorite color. And I was just like, why don't I have a red? I just haven't had time to keep up with what I was already doing to like experiment and do other things. And now I have a red, and I want this. You can buy it if you want, but if you don't, I'm taking it because I want to do something on this. This one that you might have seen on Instagram already, coral, the OK coral, huh? You know what I'm saying? You get my references. You know what I'm talking about.
I'm your huckleberry. Why, Johnny Ringo, you look like somebody just walked over your grave.
And fear not, I still have all the classic colors that you all love so much. My orange, my blue, my green, gray, it's all still here. It's just bigger, it's better, it's thicker, it's softer. You're going to love it. All right? Is that enough of a pitch for you? If you don't love it, fine. I'll use them all because I love them. Okay, we'll do whips next. On to the whips. Do we need a song or a sound effect? We should at least do a sound effect, right? Maybe an Indiana Jones whip like we used to do, even though I've never seen it and I don't know what a whip is because I've never seen Indiana Jones. Let's do it anyway. So I did do a little bit of work on one of my own things. This is what I was working on the last time we spoke 2 weeks ago, and for the first couple of days after my video, I continued to work on this. I don't know exactly what it looked like the last time you saw it. I could go back and put it in here and show you like I normally do, but I don't have a Kaylee song to accompany this, and what's the point? What's the point if there's no Kaylee song? There's really no point. I'll just show you. This is what my Meowington Meow Meow looks like now. So I'm down here in about this area here. So had I continued on with only this, probably would be finished right now. There's not really that much left. What happened was I actually went through my big basket of like nonsense that was just like jumbled full of like old whips and old fabrics and old everything. I actually went through it and organized it. And in the process of doing that, I got really excited about some of the things I was finding in there. I decided, you know what? As much as I do love working on my own things, and I do love it, there is sometimes a little bit of a danger, and I have to catch myself doing this and feeling this way. That if it starts to feel like an obligation, like I'm working on this because I need a model or because like I should be, like it's work, like, and there's nothing wrong with, like, I'm not complaining that like work is like stitching is work. Like I'm actually like somehow making money doing this kind of stuff, and like I'm not complaining about it at all. But there is a little bit of a danger of like when the thing that you love this much becomes almost like homework, that it can suck a little bit of the joy out of it. And I do not, at this point in my life, I don't want the one thing that brings me this much joy. I don't want any of the joy sucked out of it. So even if I feel like, yeah, I've got markets coming up and I should have this as a model if I want to sell a little bit more of them, if it's not what's bringing me joy in this moment that I want to be working on, then I'm going to do something else. That's just the way it is. And on that note of bringing ourselves joy, what could bring one more joy than our old buddy Jacob, right? Is there anything more joyful in the stitch world than Jacob the Graph? So, given that, and because it's October and this is kind of like deathy and Halloweeny, I said I was going to start this, and God damn it, heavens to Betsy, heavens to Jacob Troyd, I actually started it. Here's what it looks like. Booyah. Look at that. Ooh, and look, you can see Maple in behind there. There's your all are equal in death. And look at my little Jacob needle minder with the Jacob head on it. I feel like maybe I should just keep it like this. Maybe I won't even stitch that skeleton head. Maybe I'll just leave Jacob there. My little Jacob needle minder. Isn't he cute? So the colors that I'm going to be using for this, the skeleton is white. I had some colorful colors at first, but then I decided that like I don't really want it to, like, it's death. I don't really want it to be like so vibrant and colorful, but I also didn't really want it to be just one color. So it's kind of one color, but not quite. I'm gonna have the skeleton and the words in this white that I'm using. The border and the coffin around him are going to be a light but slightly darker gray than this, enough that you're going to notice the difference. And then the leaves and vines around it are going to be another color gray. So like white, gray, and gray. Three different like lightnesses. Enough that you'll notice the difference, that they're all different. You'll notice the difference that they're all different. But also kind of bleak enough that it's still in keeping with the skeleton, death, and coffin feeling of the entire thing, and the old dead-eyed Jacob here. I'm also quite happy with this fabric that I'm stitching it on, considering that this was pulled out of my garbage pile. I mean, it's not a garbage pile. I don't have a garbage pile. It's just, this is one of the ones that I sort of like did and experimented with and then didn't do again and didn't know what I was going to do with. You know, I've got some of those. And this is one of them. And I actually quite like it. Maybe now that I have more fabric to play with, maybe I'll start doing this one again, huh? What do you think? You like that? I think it's quite nice. I'm happy. Happy. And finally, so when I was organizing all my whips, I was seeing a lot of the full coverage ones that I had sort of shelved, and I was getting really excited about all of them again. I was in a full coveragey, heaven and earthy kind of a mood for the last couple of weeks. And, you know, I had all these grand plans and I had them all laid out in front of me, and I want to be working on this one, and I'm going to put them in order of priority and blah, 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 blah. And what did I settle on? Of course, Chessie. The problem, not really a problem, but like, because I do love Chessie and I love working on him, but well, I'll just show you what he looks like first before I start getting into this. What did he look like last time? That I do have a song for, so let's look at that.
This is what Chessie looked like last time you saw it. Darcy probably regrets asking me to do this.
And here is what Chessie looks like today. So I did this big chunk right here, which is quite significant. Maybe it doesn't look like it is, although I think it does look like it is, but that's a few thousand stitches. That ain't nothing. That didn't just take me an evening, you know. That took me several evenings. So with all of my options and all of my excitement, to settle back on Chessie like I always do, was like, it wasn't like, again, not like a letdown. Like, you know, I'm into it. I've been into it. I want to be doing this. But all things being equal, I might have actually worked on something else like Alice in a Dolly Dream, or like I've got a couple of new things that I want to be starting, or like maybe I would have picked one of those up instead of this. Maybe it was a toss up, but it's just, especially if I'm in a full coveragey kind of a mood and I want to be stitching something like that, it's really hard not to pick up Chessie, because this is all that's left. Like, the finish line is in sight. This where the Q snap is pretty much the edge. Like, this white space that's left here is it. There's nothing else. So it's really hard to pick something else up that like is still going to take years, knowing that if I'm going to spend that amount of time doing a full coveragey thing anyway, maybe I should be doing this and just get him done. Get him done. It's been almost 4 years already. Maybe we should just get him done already. How many times in one breath can I say already? Let's count them. I feel like once this is finished and off my mind, that it's going to free me up to spread out my full coveragey and my whips. Like, I won't feel like I have like a sort of an obligation. Not that it's not really an obligation. It's just, you know, I want to give this to Dylan at some point. I was planning to give it to him for the Christmas that he turned 5. That was last Christmas. Possibly I could have it ready for this Christmas. Like, that might be a bit of a rush, but it's possible. But I just feel like once it's finished, it's going to free me up to spread the joy a little bit more. You know what I mean? I don't really have anything that I'm doing for any purpose, and nothing is going to be close to finished. So I'll just be free to just work on whatever I want whenever I want. But I want to finish Chessie. I'm smelling the end, and it smells delicious. The other thing I talked about in my last video but haven't started yet is the old Jacob 2025 stitch along. And I got a lot of feedback and opinions about what I should, what this might look good on, which thank you very much, by the way, because I've been really struggling with it. One of the reasons I haven't started yet is because I just don't know what I'm going to stitch it on and what floss I'm going to use. The general consensus, not general consensus, the overwhelming consensus amongst the people who messaged me and commented was this purple. Everybody seemed to think that it would look good on, and I agree that it would look good on this purple. However, and I was almost settled on like, okay, like at least that's settled. I don't know which floss I'm going to use yet, but purple it is. However, in the meantime, since that, and since getting some of those comments, then I started doing a red. And I fucking love red. Red is my favorite color. Somebody did suggest red floss on purple, which might sound a little bit odd, but she swears by it, and that seemed exciting to me. Possibly purple fabric, red floss. Maybe. But when I started doing this, now I'm like, I want to use it for something. I'm going to use it for something. I mean, it's Christmassy. I'm sure I can do some Christmas things on it or something. It's going to be, you're going to be sick of red by the time Christmas rolls around, because I'm doing so much on red. But I think that maybe a light floss or a white floss or maybe a Roxy floss with some variegation in it or something might look good on my old red here. Maybe. So I don't know what to do now. I'm back to square one. Square two. At least I've narrowed it down to 2. I do like the idea of the purple. But I just really like this red. I'm liking the red. I'm picturing, even if it was just white on red, just white on red, as if it's just a just. Like, I think that would look really, really good. If I'm leaning one way or the other at all, I'm leaning red. So we'll see. Stay tuned. It's not 2025 yet. I've got time. I know some of you are stitching this already. Calm down. It's still 2024. We've got time to decide. Okay, so I'll tell you a little bit about my organization too. When I organized all of my stuff, I started to get excited about everything again. Did you ever go through? I'm sure we all have the same experience of like every time, even when there's stuff that I know that I'm probably not gonna work on ever again. When I see it, when I pick it up and I iron it and I make it look pretty again and I look at it, I genuinely believe that I'm actually going to start working on all of these things again. I really believe it, even though like the other part of me knows that I won't. I truly actually believe when I am holding these things that like I am going to get back to this. I'm going to. And I was talking to my friend, you know where you love her, Emma X Stitching. We were talking about remember our sunflower stitch along that we started how many years ago now? Probably at least 3 years ago. And then we both it was like our thing, and it was like a big thing, and then we both kind of just ditched it. I was talking to her about it, and you know, this was one of the ones that I was dusting off and looking at again and getting all sentimental about, and she was feeling the same way. You know, I know we've said this before. Here's what it looks like, by the way. After 3 years, I've gotten a little bit into page 2. Good job. At this rate, I'll only be 746 years old when it's finished. So I know that we've said this before, and you can just roll your eyes and take it with a grain of salt, I guess. But again, one of those things where you genuinely believe what you're saying when you're looking at it. Emma and I want to get back into this. We're not gonna we're not gonna say that it's gonna be immediate. Not before next year. I'll tell you right now, I'm not gonna work on this until 2025. But in 2025, Emma and I have decided that we want to pick this back up, and we want to try to at least, if not hold each other accountable, at least like encourage, or like, you know, one of us needs to actually start working on it and then show the other one, and then the other one gets all excited to start working on it again too. And we're like, you know, that's what we feel like we want to do. So tentatively, that is going to be at least a little bit of a 2025 thing. It may not be the main focus of 2025, but there is hopefully going to be Emma and Darcy progress on the Sunflower Cottage in 2025. And I hope that we stick to it because I love this. It's fun to do and I want to be doing it. So that's that. A couple of other things I came across during my organization, and I organized stuff into, I'm not getting rid of anything or like putting, some stuff is just in a little bit of a timeout. That I'm going to be brutal about it and honest about it and say that I'm not abandoning these things. I don't feel like I'm ever going to abandon anything. I know that I will, but I feel like I won't. But some things are back in the big deep basket at the bottom, and I know I'm not going to get to them anytime in the foreseeable future. So like, let's be brutal about it. But other things I put back in the top drawer of stuff that's sort of like my go-to whip drawer if I'm going to work on something. Some stuff has graduated up into the top drawer. So I'll show you the top drawer stuff of stuff that at least I think that I feel like I might work on over the next year or so upcoming. First of all, we're getting close to Christmas season, and last Christmas I started, I don't have it printed off with me, but I'll put a little picture of it here, Santa's Favorite Hoe, from a design from my friend Michael from Star Parade Designs. I started that last Christmas, and then I got so far, and then it wasn't really Christmas anymore, so I decided I'm going to save it for this Christmas. And here we're starting up Christmas again, so I put this back up in the top drawer. I didn't get too far last year, it just says Favo, but I feel like I'm going to have more time to work on this year. I really like it. It's not too intense. I feel like this didn't take me very long to get this far. It's fun to work on. It's Christmassy. I like it. So this is back up in the top drawer, and this is going to be one of my top drawer things for the next couple of months. What do you think about that? I've also moved this back up to the top drawer from Lindy Stitches, the old, what is this? Dracula's Confession. I've always loved this. I've seen this finished a couple of times, and I've always loved it. And I did start it a while ago. This is the start that I've gotten it. The problem, if it is a problem, is that, again, I don't know why I do this. Like, I was just so anxious when I started it. I was so anxious to get it started that I kind of just grabbed a fabric that was in my, shall we call it, junk pile. This was just like, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just, this was what I had available in the moment that I wanted to start it that I thought might look good on it. And I didn't put much thought into it beyond that. But looking at it again, I feel like maybe it deserves a little bit more thought than that. And I don't know, because I don't dislike this. And I think that it would probably look good, but I feel like this, for how great it is and how much I love it, might deserve a little bit more thought than just whatever scrap thing I have available in that moment just because I want to get started. It deserves a little bit more thought than that. So maybe I'll continue on with whatever this is, or maybe I will actually really think about what I want it to look like and make something or pick something that would suit it a little bit better. But it's in the top drawer. It's in the top drawer. That's a step up. Another thing that got moved up to the top drawer, and this is a real, this one stings. This Halloween Quaker. I love this Halloween Quaker. And I started this last year on a piece of 40 count linen, which is right here. And I did quite a bit of it. I got this far. And that is no small feat. That is a lot of stitches. I've been doing this 1/1. And there's a lot of stitches in this little corner right here. Let me tell you something. The trouble that I'm having with this is that I started this just before I started dyeing my own fabric. And I know it's all about me, right? But I feel like I have or could do something that I hate to say this, I might like a little bit better than this. I don't know. I don't know. Like I feel like this might be more appropriate on the purple. Maybe that is even a little bit too purpley. Maybe this one that I do called Purple Haze, where it's kind of like a little bit purpley, but a little bit like charcoaly too. This on this, maybe I don't know. And like, it's not because I don't like this fabric. I love it. I'm having a hell of a time stitching on 40 count linen. it's a lot different than stitching on Aida. Very enjoyable, very fun. Like, it's fun to do, but like, and I don't know, like looking at it now, maybe I'll continue on. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I'm as happy with this for Halloween Quaker as I thought I was last year. And I've been hesitant to pick it back up and keep going just in case I want to restart it. I don't know. This is a real struggle for me because I love this one. And if I did restart it, even if I just like slice it off here and like I'm not going to rip all of my stitches out, but there's enough left of this that I could still use it for something else that maybe I would like even better. Like, maybe this is just not the right choice for this. Maybe it belongs with something else. Like, I wouldn't not use it. I do love it. I don't know. I don't know what to do. And I'm having kind of a similar struggle with this massive undertaking right here. If you may or may not remember my history with this one. I've had this in my to-do pile for so many years now. This was the first one that I ever remember buying with the intention of stitching it for myself and keeping it for myself. This one and this red dress lady that's hanging over my shoulder over right here. This one and this one, the first two, I might have even bought them together, that I bought for myself. Up until then, I only ever stitched presents. I gave most of them to my mom. I never kept anything for myself. I wanted to keep this one for myself that's on my wall right now, and I wanted to keep this one for myself. And I finally, a year or two ago, started this. I started it on 28 count even weave 1/1, which at the time I thought like it was something different. I was kind of into doing something different. It was a little bit more of a manageable fabric size. It's still big, but it's not like crazy big. But again, now that some time has passed and I've changed a little, am I allowed to change? Do I have to stay the same person forever? I'm just not quite as into the small little stitches and the 1/1 and the 28 count. I'm not quite as into it as I was before. And like part of the reason that I love doing these really big full coverage things is because I like that they're really big. So it's still going to be if I did it on this piece of fabric, it's still going to be a decent, because it's such a big thing that even doing small stitches is still going to be pretty big, but not massively big. And I like massively big. Like I want this to be the centerpiece of the universe when you walk in and go like, holy shit, you don't even have a wall big enough to put that on. I like that. So, I've done enough of this that like it's a little bit heartbreaking to think that maybe I'm just going to chuck it and start over, but at least I'm not, 17 pages into it. I'm not on page 30 or 40 or however. This is a massive undertaking. It's got to be at least 36 pages. I'm a couple of rows into page 1. Okay, so if there's going to be a time to restart it, now is the time. And maybe I would be a little bit more into it, because that is part of the reason that I don't pick this up is just I'm just not into the little stitches. I'm not into the 1/1. I'm just not into it. I'm like I was when I started it. I was into it. And now I'm not. And it's not because I'm not into this. I prefer 2/1, and I prefer my full coverages to be bigger. That's what I like. Am I allowed to like that? Is that okay? So I might restart this one. Ooh, it hurts to say that. All right, so that's that for the top drawer. I mean, that's not quite it for the top drawer. I've got a little bit more in the top drawer, but like, there's too much in the top drawer. Let's be honest. I'm not going to be able to work on everything super consistently. So like these are the ones I wanted to show you now, and we'll see in a couple of weeks or whenever I come back. We'll see if they've risen up into the top of the top drawer, or if they've gone back down to the bottom of the basket. Who knows? We never know. I don't do what I say I'm going to do anyway, so whatever. So I've got a little bit of haul to show you too. I got a couple of new charts because I have so much time to start new things, right? So I'll show you that. I think we should have a little bit of a song to go along with that too, don't you think? Maybe something with a little bit of a Christmas flair. I won't overwhelm you with Christmas just yet, but maybe just a little preview because Christmas is coming. Look, the hat disappeared from the chair. You know what that means? It's going on my head. Deck my walls with lots of holly. Holly. You love it. So, my good friend and enabler, Emma, X-Stitching, sent me some links to these charts from this place called Thread Geeks that I'd never heard of before. So like, you might like this one and you might like this one. And like, so I went to Thread Geeks and I started looking at stuff and like, fuck, I wanted all the things. I wanted everything because I have so much time to start these massively big full coverage projects, right? Sure I do. So I think they had some sort of deal when I was browsing, like buy 2, get 1 free. I think that's why I got 3 of them, or maybe I just wanted 3 of them. I don't know, but I surfed through as many things as I could, and I bookmarked a whole bunch of stuff, and I did buy 3 of them. So here's what I got. I got this one called Mad Alice, which is the first one that I came across that really caught my eye, and even sifting through as much stuff as I could, still, by the end of it, I still wanted it. So I got it. Love it. It's Alice, it's skulls, it's my style. I love it. Do you love it? I also got this, another Alice-y, sort of like weirdly Alice-y thing called Lost Myself. There's a quote on it that says, "I almost lost myself in the madness, but I came out stronger than before," which I really liked. It spoke to me. It felt relevant to my life. Maybe not the came out stronger than before part. I don't know about that. That remains to be seen. But the I got lost in the madness part, I really liked. I relate to that. I feel like that. So I got this one. This is massively huge. I actually almost started this a couple of days ago. I was going to have it to show you that I actually like started a new thing, but like I don't know. We'll see. This or this, if I'm going to start a new thing. This one's a little bit smaller, still quite big. Like this is about the size of Chessie. And this one is much bigger than that. So, you know, because I have so much time to take on a project like that, we'll see. We'll see. If it starts, it might not ever get finished, but we'll see. I'm kind of been itching lately for full coverage and for something new that's not just been sitting in my pile for the last few years. You know, something new. So this one or this one, we'll see. And number 3, because it was buy 2, get 1 free, I got this one right here called Favorite Monster, Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein. Yes, okay, Frankenstein's monster. Okay, we get it. You read the book. Victor Frankenstein is the scientist, not the monster. We get it. So I got this because I like this sort of thing. I like ghouls and I like ghoulish love, even though I don't have any right now. But I got this for the day. The day may come in the future where I have a favorite monster again, and perhaps I will stitch this for my favorite monster one day. Maybe it's you. Who knows? So that is just about it for the things and the stuff. One more thing I did want to mention. Remember last video when I said that like maybe I'm gonna make a tutorial to like show you how I dye things, like a dyeing fabric tutorial. I'm so suggestible and so agreeable to whoever happens to be talking to me at the time, because when people like, I got a couple of new requests of like, you know, could you maybe do that? And I'm just like, yeah, maybe. Okay, I'll do that. And then when I mentioned that I was going to do that, I got flooded with messages from people that were saying, you should absolutely not do that. Don't do that. Because like, you know, it's like a magician revealing his tricks. Like it's the secret sauce. You don't give the recipe for the secret sauce. You can't do that. Don't do that. And I was just like, yeah, you're right. Why would I do that? So depending on who's talking to me in the moment, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll do it. Or, yeah, you're right, I'm not going to do it. So, and right now I've landed on the, yeah, you're right, I'm not going to do it. The only reason I feel like, and I don't even feel like there's that many people out there that would really care about it anyway, but the only reason I feel bad not doing it is because there was a time when I needed help and I asked for help. And I got it. And now people are asking me for help. And I'm just like, no, go fuck yourself. So I do feel a certain desire to pay it forward because it was paid forward to me. I've had, you know, before I was the professional stitch man that I am, that you know and love now, I was clunky and I didn't really know this and I didn't really know that. And what do you use for this? And how do you use that, and what program, and what dye, and I asked people questions, and they gave me answers. And now I'm not going to give you the answers when you're asking me? What kind of an asshole am I? But, I mean, also, like, asking a question to a person and getting an answer is a little bit different than, like, doing an entire tutorial and, like, just giving away all the secrets of your business, right? That's not what people did for me. And that's not what I'm going to do for you. I am willing, and maybe I'm not going to do it this time, but like maybe if you're really that interested, I don't even know if anybody really is that interested, but like I could give some general tips or like, you know, like things that aren't specific to like, I really like your green fabric. How do you do it? Well, I'm not going to tell you, but I could give you some general ideas of how to get started. Maybe nobody even cares. I don't know. Or if you like are really into this sort of thing and you like sent me a private message and like wanted a tip, like this is turning out like this when I do this. Why? Do you have any suggestions? Of course, I would be open to doing that. I'm not just going to give everybody the finger. I'll give you all a big FU as a whole, but individually, I am willing to help you. So we're going to abandon that for the moment. I said I was going to do it and I'm not going to do it. Big surprise. But one thing that I actually might do as a little bit of a Christmas treat for you, completely not stitching related at all, but some of you may or may not know this, that I used to be a professional baker who people actually paid money to eat the baked goods. I made a living doing it. So I was thinking maybe something simple that everybody could do, like some Christmas treats or some cookies or something like that. I would definitely be willing to do that kind of a tutorial for somebody if anybody was interested in that. Like, how come my cookies always like they never stay soft, or like they never quite, some of them are burned and some of them are overcooked, some of them are undercooked. I can tell you why that happens and I can show you what to do to fix it. It's really easy. You know, or like other yummy Christmas treats or like baked goods. I'm not very good at like cooking, but I'm very good at baking, and I bake some yummy things. And I would definitely be willing to share that with the world. The world needs more cookies. So I've been toying with the idea of maybe if I'm going to do some kind of a tutorial video, maybe I'll show you how to bake some delicious things. Would you like that? Of course you would. So, I guess thus concludes another stellar A+ Flosstube. Did you have a good time? Did you have as good of a time as I did? Of course you did. So stay tuned for next time. I don't want to make any declarations and have it be not what I said I was going to do. But I had such a good time and did so much in the last couple of weeks that maybe it won't be a month or two before I come back again. Maybe I'll be back in another couple of weeks. I'll be another year older in a couple of weeks. Maybe I'll do a birthday video. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see how much I can get done. We'll see how excited I am to share it with you. Until then, don't forget to watch E.T. Do yourself a favor and watch E.T. It's magical. Check out my shop. Check out my new soft, thick, bigger fabrics. You're going to love them. You're going to love them. And until then, keep stitching. Until when? I don't know. Forever. Keep stitching forever. Keep doing all the things. I don't have an ending for these things. Let's just say goodbye.